Mary Kay, a name well known and respected in business and industry today, and endeared as well by the many who have met or heard of this exceptional woman. She began her business with just 500 square feet of space, $5,000 in savings, and a dream. Her business strategy? Practical theories developed from plain sense. Drawing from a vast storehouse of knowledge and peppered with her own brand of homespun wisdom, Mary Kay explains how to succeed in business through excerpts from speeches given to her favorite audience, consultants, and directors at various events throughout the years. She's a renowned motivational speaker who sends a message as eloquent as it is simple. And it's as timely today as it was when she began her company back in 1963. In this first section, Mary Kay talks about time management techniques, including her favorites, the 5 o'clock club, and the 6 most important things list, plus self-discipline, finding a good work environment, learning not to overcommit, and using time wisely.
If you had a bank that credited your account every morning with $86,400 and carried over no balance from day to day, and allowed you to keep no cash in your account, and every evening canceled whatever part of the account that you had failed to use during that day, what would you do? I know what you would do. Why, of course, you'd draw out every single cent and spend it, right? Well, you do have such a bank, and its name is time. Every morning, you're credited with 86,400 seconds. And every night, it rules off as lost whatever you haven't used for a good purpose. Carries over no balances, allows no overdrafts, and each day it opens a new account for you. And each night, it burns the record of the day. If you fail to use today's deposit, the loss is yours. There's no going back, no drawing against tomorrow. You have to live in the present for today's deposit. And I want you to invest it so as to get the most and utmost in health and happiness and success in your career. And sometimes what you have to do is to discipline yourself, as I once, at one time in my life, I was not doing all I felt I could. And I looked around me and found others doing more, and I so sought their counsel, and I said, what are you doing that I'm not doing? And I discovered that what they were doing was that they were treating their job like a job. See, we are very prone, as our own bosses, to say, well, on the third cup of coffee, I guess I'll just drink another cup of coffee, and at 11 o'clock, it's too late to do anything this morning, so I'll wait till this afternoon. The phone rings, and somebody knocks off your afternoon, and the next thing you know, it's too late to do anything today, and it can go into days, and that was what was happening to me. And so I decided one day, okay, at 8:30 in the morning, if the dishes are not washed, if the beds are not made, too bad. They're going to have to stay that way till 5 o'clock because I've got to go to work for the worst boss I've ever had, me. And I gave myself a 30-minute lunch break, period, not even coffee breaks. And I did something toward my job from 8:30 until 5 every single 5 days a week. Well, all of a sudden, my unit took off like a rocket because suddenly I was putting the hours behind the time, and I was getting the power out of that job. Now, one of the ways that you can get a 9-day week, would you like that? Is by joining the 5 o'clock club. It's hard at first, but get out of that bed and do it anyway. 3 early risings makes an extra day. 6 early risings gives you the 9-day week. The thing I love is to be able to go to bed at night and know that everything on my 6 most important things list was done, and then some. That's the important thing. I went back to my own experience, and I had to learn to manage my time. It's one of the most precious commodities that we have. Use that 6 most important things every single day, every night. Make out that list and watch how much more you accomplish by having those written down. And I just love to scratch them. All day long, I look at the list, scratch, 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 scratch. When I finally get the sixth one scratched, I feel so good about what I've accomplished during the day, and you will too. Set up a good, productive working area. You know, you can't just operate from the kitchen sink and the refrigerator. You've got to have a place where you have everything in your business right there, and where you can, a touch of a hand without even thinking about it, you can do it. And another important thing I learned 100 years ago was handle every single piece of paper that comes across your desk just once. Make a decision, right or wrong. The decision that you immediately make is the right one. And then be finished with it and clear your desk. And each evening, get the next day off to a productive start with a clean desk. Don't let it stack up and become a paper container. Then, next, learn to say no. That's hard for us to do. If you could see how many times a day I've had to learn how to say no. Well, you see, overcommitment dilutes your effectiveness. And I need for you to live according to your priorities. Ask yourself this question: am I doing this because somebody else wants me to do it? Or because I really want to do it and feel that it would be an advantage to me toward making my goal come true? So learn how to say no. You have to learn to decline tactfully. Tact is the ability to tell somebody to go to you-know-where and make them enjoy the trip.
In business, everything is subject to change. People, products, buildings, technology. Mary Kay agrees with this concept with one exception. She believes that principles should never change. She's fond of paraphrasing Thomas Jefferson. In matters of principle, stand like a rock. In other matters, swim with the current. In this section, Mary Kay talks about shaping personal growth. Anything worth having is worth working for. The 8 rules of success, creating a positive attitude toward life, and the mainstay of her business philosophy, the Golden Rule.
I believe that a house is only as strong as the foundation on which it's built. And Mary Kay Cosmetics, the Golden Rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, has been the foundation of our company. And so on these basic principles, we laid the foundation out and our marketing plan was developed. For this kind of company, we needed a very special kind of people. We needed some who were not only willing but eager, as you are, to live within the concept of the Golden Rule, of thinking of others more than themselves, just like you. We are dedicated to the enrichment of life. I want everybody who has anything to do with our company to be the richer for it, not only financially, but every other way too. I want our customers and our directors and our consultants and our employees all to be richer in material possessions, of course, but richer in the beautiful gifts of the Spirit, realizing that the supply of God, like the flow of golden good, pours into our lives and is passed on to us, and then from us to the lives of others. And I want you to realize that and realize how important it is. Honesty is not just the best way, it's the only way. When Abraham Lincoln's little son, Todd, was about to spend his very first day in school, Mr. Lincoln wrote something very memorable. He said, "World, take my son by the hand. He starts to school today. It's going to be so strange and new for him for a while. I wish you could treat him gently. He will have to learn that all men are not just and all men are not true. Teach him that for every scoundrel there's a hero. For every crooked politician there's a dedicated leader. And that for every enemy there is a friend. To live in this world will require faith and love and courage. Teach him gently, world, but don't coddle him, because only the test of fire makes fine steel. And as I thought about those words, it occurred to me that it could be good advice for anybody, for all of us. And as I read again that last line, only the test of fire makes fine steel, I'm reminded that if being a Mary Kay consultant was easy, that everybody would be doing it. And thank goodness they're not, but we will recruit them. And if it were that easy, there would not be that great, tremendous, wonderful feeling of accomplishment that comes from striving toward a worthwhile goal. I'm sure that thousands have gone through our doors who thought it was going to be easy, it was a breeze. They watched you put on a class and they thought anybody can do that. 3 weeks later they found out it wasn't quite that easy. And when it wasn't, they gave up. They just gave up. How sad. They expected the world to coddle them, and they expected life to be easy. You realize that nothing is perfect. I think ours is the closest, but it's not perfect. We're trying. You heard Johnny's teacher said, Johnny is trying. Sometimes he's very trying. And anything worth having is worth working for. And I congratulate you because it's you and others who have made our company a success. There are 8 rules for success. And if you have a pen and a pencil or whatever, I want you to take these down because these are the things that will make you successful. Remember, the faintest ink is better than the most retentive memory. Write it down. Take these notes home that you've gotten in the classes and put them into action and practice them every single day. The very first one is a feeling of being lucky. Do you feel lucky? You ought to, because you are. Did you know that there are 5 billion people in this world today, and only 250 million of them live in the land of opportunity, the United States? So that in itself makes you lucky. But I'll bet you can think of a lot of other reasons, too, why you're lucky. Feel lucky. Feel lucky. You are. And then second, be a dreamer. Have a sense of greatness. Have a sense of feeling wonderful that I can do anything, and you can. It's been said that if you can dream it, you can do it. And all of you can dream it. Just start dreaming about what you want. But remember that before your dream can become a reality, you have to see it in your own mind. You've got to see its fulfillment, whatever that might be. If maybe you want to walk across that stage next year at Seminar Awards Night, or maybe you want to become a director. Whatever it is that your dream is, go for it. And then 3, all of those dreams won't work unless you do. Hard work is the next key. You know, I don't know anybody who ever succeeded magnificently who did it working 8 to 5. If you will read the success stories of all successful business people, you will find that that is not in their vocabulary, 8 to 5. They work until they achieve whatever it is they want. And some of the people who achieve tremendous success in their lives sometimes even forgot to eat. So that's ridiculous. Or sleep. That's ridiculous too. But they were so caught up in whatever it was they were doing that they just didn't even think about those basic things. It takes total dedication. I believe it was Joyce Brothers who said, being a workaholic is not all bad. It just means you're totally dedicated to whatever it is that you're doing. So when somebody calls you a workaholic, it's okay. I want you to remember that I will beats IQ any time. It's not necessary that you be born a genius. You'll make it okay. IQ is not the answer. It's I will and determination. And then 4th, you've got to have a sense of urgency. Do it now. Do it now. Minneapolis established the Din Din Club, the Do It Now Club. And it's true. Do it today. Don't put it off till tomorrow. Do it today. Be a go-getter. When somebody says it can't be done, start on it. Do it. In our company, you have mentors who've already done anything it is that you want to do, and all you have to do is follow in their footsteps, remembering that they're just ordinary people with extraordinary determination. And I want you to make do it now your motto. And then the fifth thing you have to have is enthusiasm. Have you ever wondered why that brand new consultant goes out and has a $500 class right off the bat? Certainly wasn't technique. She doesn't even know the price of bananas in Havana. But she goes out and does it with enthusiasm. She bypasses their conscious minds. She's so enthusiastic about what she's selling and what she's doing. And you know that if you were to ask me which I prefer, enthusiasm or technique, I think you know the answer. Enthusiasm. Doesn't matter what you know, just be enthusiastic. It really works. Somebody said, act enthusiastic and you will become enthusiastic. And it's true, absolutely true. And so that's why I think enthusiasm is so important. And then 6 is attitude. Your attitude is so important. I want you to be a risk taker. Remember that nothing is ever going to go just exactly right. That's life. Don't be afraid to fail. Remember, we fail forward to success. You have to make mistakes in order to get where you want to go. And we learn from those. Edison didn't find the secret of the light bulb until he had tried 10,000 times. But he didn't say he had failed. You know what he said? He had just found 9,999 things that didn't work. And he failed forward to these wonderful light bulbs. Would we be a mess without them? My goodness. And then 7, you've got to have a great high self-esteem. You've got to think good of yourself and think well. We're all different. Each of us are one of a kind, but God planted the seeds of greatness in every single person. And they're there. All you have to do is reach down within yourself and bring those beautiful seeds into fruition. He expects that of us. So be sure you do it. Don't die with your music still unplayed. And then finally, number 8, you have to have a belief in God. You've got to plug into that force of power that never fails. I have found that all great winners believe. So don't spend your time with losers. Spend your time with winners. You know, there was a story about a man who went in a restaurant and ordered a lobster, and it came with one claw missing. And the patron said to the waiter, what's the matter with my lobster here? It's got a claw missing. And he said, well, I guess he was in a fight. And the fellow said, well, take him back and bring me the winner. A winner says, let's find out, and then they make a mistake. And they seek a solution. But a loser says, it wasn't my fault. I didn't do it. Nah. You've met some of those, I'm sure. So if you want to be a real leader, remember that people are illogical, unreasonable, and self-centered, but love them anyway. And remember that if you do good, somebody out there is going to accuse you of being selfish and having ulterior motives. But do good anyway. No matter what, do good anyway. And don't forget that if you're successful, you're going to win a lot of false friends. Believe me, that works. I can tell you that. And a lot of enemies, too. But succeed anyway. And if you stand up and speak out for value and quality and honesty and integrity, somebody's going to make fun of you, but do it anyway. And remember that the care that you show today probably will be forgotten tomorrow, but care anyway. And yes, sometimes honesty makes you vulnerable, but be honest anyway. You always come out ahead. And I have found that the biggest person with the biggest ideas usually can be shot down by the smallest one. But think big anyhow. Do it anyway. And what you spend years building could be destroyed overnight. But build anyway. Many people are crying out for help, but sometimes they attack you if you try to help them. But help them anyway. Give the world the best you have. You might get kicked in the teeth, but give the world the best you have anyway. And of course, all of this just boils down to having a very positive attitude towards life. I think that one of the greatest things we can pass on to our children as Mary Kay consultants or directors is letting them learn how to be positive in their lives.
Respected authorities in direct selling, marketing, and people management today acknowledge Mary Kay's business genius and innovative thinking, but the basic business principles haven't changed since the beginning. The first seeds of her marketing plan, which Mary Kay originally wrote on 2 legal-size pads, addressed the many obstacles she had encountered as a woman trying to succeed in a man's world. Listen closely as she highlights several of these and explains the concepts of a people-driven company and how success can be yours by giving just 10% more.
The Mary Kay marketing plan which resulted was formulated in large part on my correcting errors that I had seen other companies make in my experience. For example, we determined to deliver the customer's purchase a day of the skincare class. Well, she was still enthusiastic and still remembered what to do with it. Because in my experience, I would call, we tried to deliver that 2 weeks or 3 weeks later, I would find they would say, "Oh, honey, I can't take my order because my husband lost his job and my mother-in-law just fell out the back window and my child has smallpox," none of which I knew were real reasons. She was merely saying, "I have lost my enthusiasm for what it was I bought." Do you ever buy a dress and put it in layaway? And when you went back to get it, you just could not believe that's the same dress. They changed it on you. That's what happened when we tried to deliver 2 or 3 weeks later. So I decided that was not a good way. And if we could deliver the day of the class while they still remembered what to do, we'd have it made. And it has worked out. And then second, we determined to have a more manageable 6 people instead of the 12 to 25 we used to ask for, because I had learned many times that when only 6 showed up instead of 25, that my sales were just as good as they had been the day before with 25 people, because with those few, I was able to give them personal attention. And that worked. And so I thought, if we could give personal attention to all of our customers, that would be the answer. You see, this woman does not give a hang what it does for this lady. She only wants to know what it does it do for me, right? You've seen that. And if we can give her personal attention, then she buys, and she's happy. Otherwise, she's not. So then the third thing was that we determined not to have territories. I felt that you should be able to keep your recruits and your customers no matter where you or they subsequently lived. I experienced at one point in my career having to leave Houston and move to another city, and you know what happened? I lost all I had built in those 7 years, and I thought, that's not right. There's something wrong with that. So as a result, you don't have any territories. You can sell anybody anywhere. And what you have built, you can keep. I think this is a personal business, and I felt that we needed to keep that personal connection alive, to keep those friends, in effect. And then fourth, we determined to have a ladder of success laid out in black and white so that each person knew exactly what they needed to do to reach the next plateau. See, many times in my career, I said, what do I have to do to get from here to there? And there was no answer. The real answer was, honey, you're in the wrong body. Because in the 60s, in the early 60s, that was the case. There was no way to climb that corporate ladder. You couldn't do it. You were stuck in a clerical position, period. And I thought women needed an open-end opportunity like you've got. And of course, there have been a lot of other things, but they only give me so long to talk. And just as the wounded oyster mends itself with a pearl, so we can turn those arrows into pearls that make our lives and our company work. Long ago, somebody said to me, and this inspired me, it is as honorable to sell as it is to buy. And yes, it is. I think you need to reinforce that with new recruits, because one of the fears that new recruits face is that they don't think it is. We have such a gift to give our people, to give those customers, that you should not be apologetic about it. It is as honorable to sell as it is to buy. And we have the responsibility of keeping the honor in selling, remembering that our nation's economy depends upon the fact that nothing happens till somebody sells something. So go sell something. So set yourself a goal of so much each day and keep your promise to yourself. You see, our business, more than any other, is people-driven and people-dependent. And that gives us at once a great opportunity, but also a great responsibility. Daniel Webster said that if we work upon marble, time will efface it. If we build temples, they will crumble into dust. But if we work upon immortal minds and imbue them with the principles and the just fear of God and love of our fellow men, we engrave on these tablets something that will brighten all eternity. Success is not a selfish objective. So if you've been thinking that, get that out of your mind. You see, there's no way that you can succeed unless you find a need and fill it, find a hurt and heal it, find a problem and solve it. Somebody once said that Mary Kay Cosmetics is a unique way of life. It provides the brushes and the oils and the pigments and the canvas on which you can paint your life just as you want it to be. You choose your own colors, your own design, and your own pattern. And your Mary Kay career can help you to paint a beautiful picture of your life as you want it to be. I once heard the story of a man who said that success could be had by simply giving 10% more. He gave the example of the fact that the average American man stands close to 72 inches high. But if you subtract 10% of his height, you have a smaller man of 5'5". But add 10% and you've got a giant on your hands. And so it is with virtually every facet of our lives. Take away 10% of your present attitude, and chances are nobody will even want to be around you. But add 10% to what you are now, and you will be positively dynamic. Isn't that an easy formula? Somebody said that it's one thing to itch for something, but quite another to scratch for it. We all want things, but relatively few of us really put forth the effort required. And the extra effort is often only slightly above the average. And a marvelous change comes about when we go the second mile and make that 10% extra effort. It is well said that triumph is just a combination of try and umph. And that's not really so hard. But the reason that so many people don't make the grade is that they are nearlies. Now, if you've never heard that word before, they nearly succeed in everything they do. My mother used to say, much good work is lost but for the lack of a little more. And she pushed me up with that. There are many people who could go over the top and become tremendous assets to themselves and to their company if they would only give that little bit of effort, extra effort, willingly. And I want you to decide right now that in your life, you're going to give that extra 10%.
According to Mary Kay, teaching people how to spread their wings and fly on their own requires goal setting, taking a dream inventory, and using action to cure fear. Let's listen as she also explains how service and silver dollars relate, the most important assets of a company, and adjusting an attitude with a smile.
Now, to do all these things that we want to do, you've got to set goals. And I want you to start by making an inventory of your dreams. Does that sound funny? The things that you really want, the things that you want to do, the things that you want to be, and the things that you want to share. Remember, there are no limits. I want you to write down everything that you would like to achieve. Work, family relationship, mental, emotional, social, material, and physical goals. And then I want you to go over that list that you've made, estimating when you plan to reach these goals. Prioritize your goals. Decide what you want to start on first. And then select the 4 most important goals for you for this year and list all the reasons why you have to achieve them. Then once you've got the dream, you've got to come back down to earth and put that dream on wheels, okay? And study your consultant's guide and learn how to do it better than it's ever been done before. Become a professional. Make your beauty consultantship something that everybody wants, and make it your magnificent obsession. Be the greatest. Now, how do you get all this started? Dr. Schuller says that all successful people get started by simply starting. Now, that's revolutionary, isn't it? Start. Have you ever noticed it's something you dreaded doing, that once you just got into it, that everything started clicking along okay? You know, isn't that strange? Something stimulates you to take that first step on a trip that becomes destiny. And I can assure you that you won't go anywhere until you start. And I can also assure you that you will have a tremendous experience if you only begin. Tomorrow is the day you begin. Make every day count, every hour count, every minute count, and don't stop until you've exercised that full potential. I mean, let's face it, I can find more reasons not to do something I don't want to do. And it's silly because it really comes from fear. So act without hesitation, because action will cure fear. And remember that the death of fear is in doing what you fear to do. Haven't you found that a million times? You know, you dreaded this and you were scared to death to do it, and then you started and you did it, and the fear vanished. I want you to take your goal and break it down into monthly, weekly, and daily segments. And you'll find that that way it's easy. Inch by inch, it's a cinch. Yard by yard, it's hard. But inch by inch, it's a cinch. Select your goals, write them down, and be precise. Know exactly what you want, and go for it. And then chart your course. Make a plan and stick with it. Plan your work, work your plan. Make that plan on your way home. Commit yourself. Let nothing or nobody or any circumstance deter you. Don't let anybody rain on your parade. There are always those who will say it can't be done. Don't listen. Do you remember the infamous story of the first Henry Ford? He was an inventive genius extraordinaire, and he was the founder of the gigantic Ford Motor Company, as you will call. He was a kind of a whimsical character. and he had curious ways of doing things. One day, one of his associates came in and told him that his chief ambition in life was to make $1 million and then to take life easy. Well, a few days later, Mr. Ford walked into this associate's office, and he laid a package on the desk, and he said, "This is for you. Open it, please." And the man opened it, and in the package there was a pair of rimmed glasses of which the lenses had been removed. And in their place they had substituted 2 round silver dollars. "Put them on," insisted Mr. Ford. "Now, what do you see?" And the man said, "Well, I don't see anything. How can I? The dollars are in the way." "That's right," Mr. Ford said. "If you make dollars your objective, you see nothing but money, and the dollars will indeed get in your way. But if you will forget the dollars and focus on giving rather than getting, and really render service, the dollars will take care of themselves." Got that moral? Okay? Our belief in caring for people, of course, cannot conflict with the fact that as a corporation we have to generate a profit to stay in business. We're all cognizant of that. And yes, we do keep an eye on the bottom line, but to me, P&L does not mean profit and loss. It means people and love. And we try to pay as much attention to our people as we do to our bottom line. Both are important, but the people, I've often said, take away all our millions of assets and our dollars, millions of dollars and all that business. Leave us the people. We can do it again. And we can. Because you are our most important asset. You know, we do something in the hotels that's kind of interesting. Most of the time I have to go through the kitchen in order to get someplace where I'm on time, you know. So here are these people in the kitchen. They're usually not very happy. As a matter of fact, they're very sad-faced and they're very solemn and somber. And so we make it a point to greet every single person we meet with, "Hello, how are you?" But sometimes they look at us in astonishment. I mean, she spoke to me like it was something unusual. And I say, "How are you?" And they say, "Okay. Okay. You crazy or something?" "No, really, okay." Second day, I always say to them, "No, you're great. Remember I say to you, you're not just fine, you're great." And I say that to them. And the next day, they'll see me coming and they smile a little. And I'll say, "How are you?" "Pretty good." "No, you're great." By the third day, they're smiling. "I'm great." One manager of a hotel wrote me one time and he said, "You did more for the morale in my kitchen in 3 days than I've been able to do in 10 years. And really, it's nothing in the world, but people are people. Everybody is important. I know they are in God's eyes, and so they should be in our eyes.
And that is Mary Kay's key to greatness: leadership through a love of people and the golden rule. She continues to provide a pathway to success for future generations, as she so beautifully relates in these final words.
Someone sent me a lovely poem called "The Bridge Builder." An old man traveling a lone highway came in the evening cold and gray to a chasm vast and deep and wide. And the old man crossed in the twilight dim, for the silent stream held no fears for him. But he turned when he reached the other side, and he built a bridge to span the tide. "Old man," said a fellow traveler near, "you're wasting your time building here. Your journey will end with the ending day, and you'll never again pass this way. You've crossed the chasm deep and wide. Why build you a bridge at eventide?" And the builder raised his old gray head. "Good friends, in the path that I have come, there followeth after me today a youth whose feet must pass this way. This chasm, which has been as naught to me, to that fair-haired youth might a pitfall be. He, too, must cross in the twilight dim. Good friend, I'm building this bridge for him. Isn't that beautiful?